Hello, welcome everyone. I've got another interview for you today with one of my students, Ann Kewley, who's in Adelaide in Australia, and Anne has worked with me in the process for a year. She's been a membership. She's gone through the whole thing and had the whole experience. And it was a little while ago, but I really wanted to have a chat with Anne and share her experience of learning to play the guitar and working with me because I think she's got a really great story. So Anne, thanks for jumping on with us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. So, I wanted to start with just asking you about your original motivation for wanting to learn to play the guitar.
When I was a teenager, I had a boyfriend who had an electric guitar. So I learned a few chords in a few months. Then, like teenagers, it ends. Then, about 15 years later, I got an acoustic guitar and tried learning from a book called, Teach Yourself Guitar. Well, again, I learned a few basic open chords, uh, some very basic songs like, Happy Birthday or something like that, but nothing inspiring. So I gave it up again. But I never lost my wish to learn how to play. So I don't know, I was looking on the computer. My son had bought me a guitar, acoustic guitar, and said, "There you go, Mum, you've wanted to play, off you go." And I went on Facebook, found your page, and you looked like the right one. So I went with it, and I'm so glad I did.
Ah, fantastic. So, um, where was your guitar playing before you found my teaching and stuff?
Oh, well, I'd forgotten. Like I could do some basic chords like sort of A, D, E, G. That was about it. Not
Okay.
much.
Yeah, fair enough. And what was the reason you decided to work with me specifically?
Um, I don't know. I just like the look of your page. I tried out a couple of things on YouTube and they didn't sort of appeal to me. Yours seemed more personal and it just seemed worth going with. So I went with my intuition and I'm glad I did.
Cool. Fantastic. All right. So you enrolled in the process, and that was a year long. Yeah. And what was your experience like of that?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think that the Django chords is the most brilliant way to get people going, especially older or any age guitarists. I was 67 and I'm 70 now. Um, and at that age, you do feel like, oh, how am I ever going to do it? I'm so old, I'm too old to learn anything. But I was amazed with the Django chords. I was able to very quickly, very fast learn the songs that you had in your course for that level. And that just was so encouraging to find you can actually play and proper songs like folk songs and rock songs, not Happy Birthday or proper songs. So yeah, I was really happy. Then I progressed on to the next. I think I probably did strumming in the middle because we all find strumming is the part we next want to get good with. And I went through all the different types of strumming, and that was wonderful because that it somehow just even if you're only doing Django chords, to do the strumming makes such a difference to your playing. You feel so much more of a player. Then I did your open anchor chords, and they were great. You have all these differences. I had to get my thing out here, finger pivot movements and string guided movements, shape guided movements, hover movements. These are chords that have these similarities so that you can learn them as a group. And then you had the most marvelous method where you have to count how many times you can do the transition between various chords in, say, a minute and write it down on this list. And you notice yourself over time getting quicker and quicker and quicker. And that way you're able to, instead of playing each song at a really slow pace, you can play it at a more jolly pace. And that makes you feel good as well. So I got the way all the way through the open anchor method. And by then it might have been 6, 8 months. And then I went on with your next. part of it, which I think in the songs is called Orange Level. And that was brilliant. And then I suddenly decided I want to do power chords, I want to do bar chords, because a lot of the songs that I'd look up that I wanted to play, you know, you needed more than just like if you want to do F chords or B chords, you have to be able to do bar chords. Now, your idea was right. You start with the power chords where you have this finger, you learn to sort of have these fingers where the bar chord is and this finger at the top, and you could go jump to jump, 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 jump to jump, 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 or jump, 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 and you feel like a rock guitarist. And I loved that. And then I went on with learning the bar chords, which the first month, like you can get a couple of the strings, but the strings under the middle of your finger sort of mute. And you have to learn how much pressure to put. But surprisingly, it's less pressure than you think. And then after a month or so, I suddenly found that oh, by the way, I'd got an electric guitar at around this stage. And
Cool.
I found the electric guitar much, I don't know, easier. I think it's got a thinner neck. It just was easier to play. And that would have been at the stage I was doing power chords. So um, that and doing the bar chords, then I just went through your whole archive list, did many, I'm trying to think what, I don't know, I've got so many songs that I play now.
Mhm.
Um, I like a lot of ones like Fleetwood Mac songs, and the Rock on Gold Dust Woman, and that one uses a B chord.
Mhm.
Lots of songs use, including, you know, Eagles, Hotel California uses the F chord. So if you can do those,
Mhm.
you have a much wider range. I was able to play with friends who came here, and that's extremely encouraging. Like they played and I played at the same time, and that gives you so much confidence that you can do that. And the man next door plays guitar, so that's very helpful.
Ah, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's been fantastic. And I would recommend anyone, don't worry how old you are, you'll be able to do it.
Cool. Thanks, Anne. Give me an idea of do you remember like the early songs you learned? What was one of the first ones that you really got?
Oh, so long ago. Oh, I know I did Wild Thing, you know, dun, 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 dun. That's a very easy one that anyone can do because it only uses A, D, and E, and and you can feel like a rock star. My son, using my original guitar that I had when I was pregnant with him, he learnt at 10 to do Wild Thing, and you know that's the one that many people learn. It's a very easy one, and it makes you feel like you're a great guitarist right early on.
Cool. Excellent. Great. So it's a lot of songs. How many roughly would you say you were able to play during the year that we worked together?
About 100.
100 songs.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I
That's
just I played as many of yours as I liked, and then I just would go on there, get the chords for whichever ones I liked.
Fantastic.
Anything, or I'd hear something and I think, oh, I want to play that. Now, what is very helpful is to play at the same time as YouTube, because once you get to about orange level, um, if you play with YouTube, that gives you the feeling of playing with the band.
Yeah, great. With the recording of the original
Yeah,
recording song.
yeah, yeah. Now, at the very start, when you do that, you may need some songs on only 75% speed because some of them they really do go fast. But
Hmm.
then you'll find as you get better, you can do it at their normal speed. That gives you a lot of confidence too.
Fantastic. Cool. Brilliant. So what was your what did your practice look like? Like how many times a week would you pick up the guitar and for how long?
Okay, at the start, hours a day, probably too much. Uh, then I got it down to about 45 minutes a day. Currently, I'm a bit disgusting. I only do it about every second day, but I do it about half an hour or more every day. It's like just to keep up in, you know, each of my fingers has got that line
Oh,
that you get along. and you have to keep your fingers nails, like you have to cut them just about every day. It's amazing how fast they. I think cutting them must make them grow faster.
Yeah, maybe that could be it. Yeah, certainly. That's fantastic.
Um, and if people say, "Oh, I'm having trouble getting chords," I think often I used to think that, and then I found, oh, if I cut my nails, suddenly I could do it so much easier. So I always remember to cut them before I play now.
Keep them short. Yeah, brilliant. Me too. I always I always notice that my nails are getting a bit long and they're in the way, and I feel like I'm forever trimming them. Um,
Yeah.
Definitely. Would you? Yeah, fair enough. Would you recommend my teaching and my program to other adults?
Oh, absolutely. Your teaching's wonderful because it's slow and sequenced. That's the thing about it. You start off with the Django sequence, and I won't bother to tell the story of how he had a fire and his fingers got sort of fused, so he couldn't play properly, but he was determined to. And that is just the most brilliant start. And even if a person never ever actually got beyond the Django method, they'd still be able to play a lot. It'd be amazing. Then your open anchor method is brilliant because you divide the chords into the different types that go together, and that is much easier to learn than just striking out straight. Then you tend to get into the things of, the B7s, the D minors, all the different sort of A7, all the different. In fact, I can't think what the song is. There's a song that's all sevenths chords, nothing else, and it's
Cool.
gorgeous. A folk song, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, your way, and also having every week how you do a new song. That is absolutely fantastic because, and you go right through the song section by section. I remember in the same way as when I was in a choir, how they would teach you to sing all the different sections. You use that method, and so that by the end of just like an hour, the person can play the tune. That's excellent. And if the person does that every week, then every week they learn another song. So how good is that?
brilliant.
So yeah, your method seems to be the most, I don't know, I can't understand how any other method could be better.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
suit everybody. And I believe you do personal mentoring as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm there in the program to help and guide people through the challenges that they have. Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, to wrap up, what advice do you have, or what advice would you give to somebody, an adult beginner learning to play guitar?
Yeah. Um, Apart from keeping the nails short, just keep persisting because there are some chords like C, which feels like a stretch at the start. Now I have to combine C with the F chord constantly because they come one after the other in songs. So you have to get good at the C. I even had trouble with the D chord at the start, and I now don't have a clue why, but there must have been something about it. And I remember asking you, Ian, about it. Um, just please keep persisting with your, like, you feel bad one day, stop playing that day and then leave it and then pick it up the next day, and you might be amazed to find overnight you think, oh, you'll also find you dream a lot about it at the start. When you're first learning something, you'll find you're dreaming of playing, and that's a good sign. It means it's got into your head, I guess.
Yeah, certainly. You're right. Yeah,
And that might help you play better the next day. I don't know.
you're right. It does. If you're doing things relatively frequently, then when you're resting, your brain is still trying to figure that stuff out. Um, yeah, it definitely works. It's a strange one, but it's what we do. Definitely. Okay, and that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. It's really nice to speak to you, and I really appreciate you sharing your experiences with everybody. Really great. And you're doing fantastic with your guitar playing.
thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.